Punch and Duty started in December 1983 out of a need I had to create a social political comment which could be performed in the streets, whereas most of the theatre that we had done before were basically in schools and theatres. So they started communicating to a more general, wider audience. And I've had a very wide, varied reaction. Some places the audience have really loved it, and some places, like at Durban Expo, I was assaulted after one performance by a man who said he didn't like my politics. So you can't please everybody all the time.
Hey, Punch, come out. Hey, Punch, come out. He's not dead side. Maar wacht een beetje, hij gaat die andere side kijken. Hey, Punch, come out, you bloody terrorist. He's nowhere to be seen. Have you seen him? Hey, it's no need to be aggressive. Ja, it's not aggressive. No? Nee, it's defensive. Wat betekent jij? Ja, Pee Wee said we must all be defensive now with the unrest of that. It's not funny. Yeah. Did you hear what happened? Huh? You'll never guess what happened. Koeberg, our very own nuclear power station, has exploded and all the nuclear fallout has spread around South Africa, turning everybody's skin black so nobody can vote again. The last part is correct. Huh? The last part is right. Nobody can vote again.
When authorities have realized how dangerous puppets were, they've banned them. But they're harder to ban than live actors because you can do a puppet show in your living room and invite your friends. You can travel from place to place with puppets and always be kind of one step ahead. You know, it's harder for a central authority to control puppets than it is to control live actors.
Here we are in the center of Cape Town. This is called Green Market Square. And this is exactly the space where I brought the puppets out of my studio at the People's Space Theatre into the square in the early 1980s and launched Punch and Duty, Puppets Against Apartheid.
Also, because puppets tend to be performing locally, just because they're usually smaller, they tend to have a smaller audience. They very often will use dialects or even languages that people who aren't from right there won't understand.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dames and heren. It gives me great pleasure and privilege to stand on this platform today, as I have stood on many other platforms on many other days.
A perfect example of puppets getting away with things by staying beneath the radar of the authorities is Gary Friedman's Punch and Dirty, which was his anti-apartheid Punch and Judy show, which just played in the streets. And I don't think he was ever arrested. He was beaten up a couple of times by local whites who got offended. But he wasn't shut down because they basically kind of couldn't catch him in the act. And he did outrageous things. At one point, he had the authorities decided to create new homelands on another planet, and they had astronauts that they were going to send off to create homelands on other planets. This is in the middle of apartheid South Africa.
Hey, where have you been? Just rearranging the deck chairs on the democracy, Mr. President.
Well, are you all ready for my inauguration speech in 12 minutes and counting?
Ready, Mr. President. But wouldn't you like to inspect the space shuttle first?
Yeah, okay. I had better, as head of state here in this country.
Yeah, Mr. President, after you. Mr. President!
What is it?
Why, keep still, Mr. President. There's a fly on your head.
What?
Keep still. I got him, Mr. President? Hello? He's fallen asleep. He also probably needs a holiday, don't you think so? Yeah. What about Uranus? Come, Mr. President, up Uranus! Yeah!
With the Punch and Duty performances, we also added visiting politicians from overseas. We had Ronald Reagan from the United States and Thatcher from England. These were the people cooperating with P.W. Botha, the Prime Minister of South Africa at the time, during the dark days of apartheid.
Well, let me wish you the best of luck with your new liberal policies. And I only hope Mr. Bush will get elected to help you implement them.
Yeah. Anything to protect us from a bloody communist. That Michael Jackson! I've even banned his records here in South Africa.
Well, good day, Mr. Botha. Right now, I've got a crisis on my hand in Iran or Afghanistan or Cuba or somewhere. I better be going. Best of luck with your new space program.
Donkey, thank you.
Gary Friedman used Punch and Judy to extremely strong political effect in South Africa. It was wonderful what he did. And he got the approval of Mandela.
And Punch and Judy had the license, being puppets, to criticize the regime and to discuss politics in the streets, which human beings couldn't do. And I remember very clearly one of the journalists from the local newspaper coming to me after a performance here and saying, "Do you realize that the security police are taking notes at the back of your show?"
Ja, ek is Constable Kaaskop, the long arm of the law here in South Africa. And I does believe there is civil unrest here. I, in my official capacity, had better go and investigate.
What could I do? I had to continue. A couple of times I got beaten up by some real right-wing element here in Cape Town. And it happened as well in Durban, in another part of South Africa. But having said that, it reached the people, because this is the space where the people could gather in the streets, and I could perform the show free of charge to the crowds that gathered. And people really laughed, because the key of humor opens people up and gets this two-way communication message going. So many years later, when I started Puppets Against AIDS, I used a very similar technique, the key of humor, to open up people and to discuss political and social issues in the streets of South Africa and get the message understood and get a two-way communication going with the people.